Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Women are fundamental to life. Mother Earth is the feminine, the divine, and without her, we don't have seed. Females carry life, and without her, there is no life. The dairy industry is at the core of the deepest betrayal of motherhood and the female body.
Please keep watching to find out more.
Lovely viewers, good day. I'm Froylan. The cheerful, warm-hearted people of the Northern Mariana Islands wish you all good health and blissful days. Welcome to our show, Dolly Vyas-Ahuja, Vegan, a true voice for Ahimsa, part 1 of 2. Today, we are privileged to feature a charismatic lady, Dolly Vyas-Ahuja, whose powerful example of unconditional love and tireless work for our precious animal friends in the last 5 years are worthy of our high esteem and accolades. Her impassioned plea for benevolence towards our voiceless animal co-inhabitants, based on her motherland, India's age-old tenet of Ahimsa, carries more relevance now than ever. In a world imperiled by an unprecedented pandemic and an ever-deepening climate change crisis. Dolly moved with her family to the USA as a 1-year-old. Although her family had traditionally been vegetarian, she was allowed to adopt a non-vegetarian diet. One day, in April 2014, however, she came across a speech online known as the greatest speech ever by renowned animal freedom fighter Gary Yourofsky. She was so shocked by the graphic depictions of what occurs behind closed doors on the factory farms of the world that she had an emotional breakdown that night, turning vegan from that day on. Becoming vegan awakened Dolly to the long spiritual heritage of her motherland, which is centered around the concept of Ahimsa. The Sanskrit word Ahimsa translates as non-violence or cause no harm.
The word Ahimsa came from India 5,000 years ago by the Upanishads. And the word Ahimsa means non-violence to all living beings. Not just human beings, but all sentient beings. In everything we think, in everything we say, in everything we do. And the word Ahimsa is so elegant, empowering, and enduring because it describes our character, said so beautifully by Philip Whelan.
Dolly's chance encounter with Gary Yourofsky's YouTube speech marked the beginning of her ardent activism against what she sees as the greatest social justice issue of our time, speciesism. The platform of her vegan activism includes temples, schools, conferences, sanctuaries, veg fests, protests, rallies, and online venues. Soon after turning vegan, Dolly was invited by the president of the Jain Society of Houston, Miss Urvashi Jain, to deliver a speech at her temple. The theme of her speech was why dairy is not Ahimsa. Dolly's passionate speech that day at the Jain temple struck a chord with the audience.
I was very, very nervous, and my voice shook, but I spoke anyway. But when I was done, a teenage boy came up to me and said, "You know, I no longer can have dairy products anymore after listening to you." And I started having tears in my eyes. And a few parents came up to me and told me that their children were lactose intolerant. And I said, yes, they need to get onto a plant-based dairy.
Dolly has never looked back.
So soon after that, we started a WhatsApp group, all the women at the temple. and we started exchanging recipes and videos and education. As I noticed, on Sunday school, they stopped giving milk to the children at the school. They would also start making their Indian tea from soy or cashew milk. When it was time to light the diva in the temple, they used coconut oil. And the former president also went vegan. So I was really happy. A lot of progress was made in that temple.
Dolly upholds the ethics behind ahimsa in all forms, decrying not just meat and dairy, but also the use of honey, silk, eggs, and leather. She is dismayed that India, where cows are held sacred, is today one of the largest exporters of leather in the world.
You know, many of these cows are alive. Their skin is ripped alive. The sad thing is, a lot of children are forced to do this. You know, who are poor, just need a few rupees to put food on the table or whatever, are called in to do this kind of work. And just imagine how this affects the mind of the child and the people who have to do this day in and day out. This is terrible. Who would support such a thing? It's not a bag. It's violence. Or it's not a leather belt. It's not a leather jacket. It's violence. If you would just take some time and go and see how they make a leather, you would never want to be part of it.
It is truly unfortunate that little children in some parts of the world have to live hand to mouth in this day and age. We pray sincerely that a vegan golden era will dawn soon, one in which all beings live in peace and abundance, free from hunger and suffering. Let us now take a short pause for an important message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our show. Dolly's biggest dream is to turn her motherland vegan. Although India is known for its philosophy of non-violence and vegetarianism, Dolly says that modern dairy production in India is a far cry from the cruelty-free ways of the days of Lord Mahavira and Lord Krishna.
A lot of people don't know, but India is one of the largest beef exporters in this world. You know, people in India are eating dairy maybe 4, 5, 6 times a day. And there's close to maybe 500 million heads of cattle in India. All these male cows, there's no use for them. So a lot of times the farmer will starve the cow and say nature took its course, or the farmer will put the male cow onto the street and the cow is eating plastic and maybe die that way. And another thing they're doing is called kal bacha, where they're killing the baby calf and stuffing it and putting it next to mother cow so she'd produce a little bit more milk. There's so much cruelty going on in the dairy industry.
What also galls Dolly is the painful forced insemination without anesthesia and the inhumane separation of mother cow and calf in dairy farms throughout the world. In a speech at the Jain Center of Southern California in Buena Park, California in 2018, she exposed the dark side of the dairy industry.
Now, on dairy farms, baby cows are torn away from their mother immediately or within hours of birth, just so humans can drink the milk that was nature made for the baby calf. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say we were at the hospital and we just had our baby, and somebody comes in and just snatches that baby before the doctor could even bring the baby to our chest and hear our heartbeat for the first time. Imagine how that could feel, and imagine if this happened to us over and over and over again. A mother cow will bellow for her baby for months. It's the most excruciating sound you will ever hear. Women are fundamental to life. Mother Earth is the feminine, the divine, and without her, we don't have seed. Females carry life, and without her, there is no life. The dairy industry is at the core of the deepest betrayal of motherhood and the female body.
Understandably, Dolly is determined to rekindle in the hearts of her countryfolk the love for all God's creatures as taught by the greatest sages through the ages.
We need to get this word ahimsa back that originated in our country because we've become so far away from it. So we need to bring ahimsa back, bring salvation, equality, liberty, harmony, and love back home.
To achieve that goal, Dolly has been working tirelessly on a feature-length documentary entitled The Land of Ahimsa, which is scheduled for release in late 2020. The film is directed by acclaimed Bollywood actor turned director, Ariman Ramsey.
And The Land of Ahimsa covers my journey of going vegan overnight and going back to India, to my motherland, with two new set of eyes to see animal cruelty for the first time. And the movie covers, a lot of amazing people here in the United States and in India. We interview activists here in the US and in India. We have covered plant-based doctors, sanctuaries, PETA India, Indian vegan entrepreneurs, businesses that have been popping up in India. So the Land of Ahimsa covers all aspects, the cruelty, the ethics, our planet, and our health.
In our previous episode, we were privileged to present to you a very special soul, Miss Dolly Vyas-Ahuja of Houston, Texas, USA. Upon learning about the heart-rending plight of animals in factory farms around the world via a chance encounter with a speech titled The Greatest Speech You Will Ever Hear by animal rights activist Gary Yourofsky 6 years ago, Dolly turned vegan on the spot. Since then, she has been an unrelenting champion for animals, passionately advocating the age-old tenet, ahimsa, or nonviolence. From her motherland of India to the world, she has produced a feature-length documentary entitled The Land of Ahimsa that will be released in late 2020. With her endless enthusiasm, Dolly has become friends with virtually everyone on the who's who list of the animal rights movement in India and the USA. One person she is particularly close to is the renowned author, environmentalist, social justice advocate, and animal activist Dr. Silas Rao, a Shining World Award for the Earth Protection Laureate, who is also one of the key originators of the internet as we know it today.
I was reading an article about Dr. Silas Rao, and I think the article was about ahimsa, about climate change, and I called him up right away. And I told him who I was, and I want to try to get dairy out of the temples. He spoke to me for so long. He taught me so many things about the culture and had them use coconut milk at the temple and coconut oil. And we became friends through this process. And he talks about all this methane that is going into the air. And he's also talking about us chopping down the forest. Now, every 10 seconds, the Amazon forest is being chopped down for animal agriculture. So animal agriculture is the #1 reason for ocean dead zones, habitat destruction, environmental devastation. And these things have to change. And he is our executive producer for the Land of Ahimsa. And I'm so grateful to have met him.
Dolly's activism has taken her around the world. In India, she delivered a rousing speech at the World Vegan Conference in New Delhi in July 2019 about the harmful effects of dairy. In the US, she has been invited to speak at the Rowdy Girls Sanctuary in Texas on numerous occasions. In France, Dolly rallied for French vegan activist Charlotte Arnold, who began a year-long walk across France on October 4th, 2019, to demand new laws to protect all animals from human exploitation. In championing for the rights of the oppressed, we learn that Dolly is actually following in the footsteps of her grandfather, as she tells us about her grandfather's activism alongside the father of India, Mahatma Gandhi ji.
I'm actually a granddaughter of a freedom fighter, and his name was Chhagan Lal Joshi, and he fought with Mahatma Gandhi on many social justice issues. Back then, he was right there at his side at the Salt March, which was a change in history. He also went to jail with Gandhi many times, fighting for social justice issues. He was also lived in the ashram with Mahatma Gandhi. He was always at Gandhi's side. And so today, I follow in my grandfather's footsteps. I'm also a freedom fighter, an animal freedom fighter, fighting for the greatest social justice issue talked about today, which is speciesism.
Like Mahatma Gandhi and her grandfather, Dolly practices ahimsa and satyagraha. Ahimsa is non-violence towards all beings. Satyagraha is one of Gandhi's principal concepts, meaning upholding truth as a form of non-violent resistance by adding the Sanskrit word agraha, meaning resolute firmness, to satya, meaning truth. He goes beyond mere passive resistance, urging satyagrahis to find strength in their non-violence.
Truth, satya, implies love, and firmness, agraha, engenders and therefore serves as a synonym for force, that is to say, the force which is born of truth and love, or non-violence.
Truth, love, firmness, ahimsa. For Dolly, these are all inseparable facets of the divine. Dolly believes that the best way to honor God is to live according to these principles.
In God, Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, Lord Jesus, Lord Buddha is full of compassion and love. And they're trying to teach that do not harm anyone. Do not separate a mother and a child. So I think we really need to understand what God is trying to say, and that is to live with compassion. That should be number one.
One of the most effective ways Dolly propagates the vegan ideal is through cooking shows. She is a regular on JaneUnchained.com, the online platform of one of the world's foremost animal rights and environmental activists, Jane Velez Mitchell, a Shining World Vegan Journalist Award recipient. Through the cooking shows, Dolly demonstrates how easily one can veganize any meat or dairy dish. To the delight of her audience, Dolly sometimes breaks into a spontaneous, happy song or a charming dance during her cooking shows.
Texas is going vegan. Texas is going vegan right now. So please don't have a cow. Who's heard of that song? That song's by my girl, Renee King Sonnen, at Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. She sings that song so beautifully.
As an encore, let us hear it from Renee King Sonnen herself, singing at her sanctuary in Wilder, Texas, with the co-writer of the song, Jane Velez Mitchell.
I can feel it on the plains, I can sense it on the range, I can feel it on the farm and even in my barn. Texas is going vegan, Texas is going vegan, baby, Texas is going vegan right now. So please don't have a cow. So please don't have a cow.
Isn't that groovy? Let us now take a short pause for an important message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our show. In advocating a plant-based diet, Dolly often encounters the question, but don't we need the calcium in milk?
A lot of people think that we need milk for calcium, healthy teeth, and strong bones. But the truth is, the more milk you drink, like in Switzerland, those women have the highest osteoporosis. So we've actually been duped into believing that milk was good for us. Cow's milk is for a baby calf. Mother's milk is for a baby. Mother's milk has linoleic acid. We need this for about a year. And then we no longer need our mother's milk. Even mother cow will teach her baby to start eating grass around 6 to 8 months. So we've just been brainwashed in thinking that this is okay.
One of the medical doctors featured in Dolly's upcoming documentary, The Land of Ahimsa, Dr. Bandana Chawla, concurs.
I was forced to drink milk twice a day,
Same
every
here.
day
Yeah.
as a child.
Yeah.
And my parents were doing what they thought was right because that's what they had been taught.
Right.
But now there is plenty of research that shows that dairy is not only not needed, but also quite harmful.
Dolly recognizes that dairy consumption is deep-rooted in Indian culture, which is one reason why she's working hard on her documentary film as a way to change the misconceptions in her motherland. The film will feature prominent vegan advocates, health professionals, and athletes at the forefront of the vegan movement throughout the world. It also showcases the works of animal rights organizations in India, including PETA India, the ASPCA India, the Federation of Indian Animal Protection Organizations, VAPO, a Shining World Compassion Award laureate, and Animal Aid Unlimited, a non-profit that rescues and rehabilitates animals. Dolly says that she has also been encouraged by the growing number of plant-based food enterprises in India. One is vegan protein startup Good Dot, co-founded by former Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax with the Indian Revenue Service, Abhishek Sinha. The other successful plant-based startup is alternative milk manufacturer Good Milk, founded in 2015 by vegan entrepreneur Abhay Rangan, who was only 18 years old when he started the company. Abhay is one of the youngest Indian entrepreneurs to be recognized on this year's Forbes magazine's Asia's 30 Under 30 Achievers list.
Yes, and when I went to India this time, I met so many entrepreneurs. One of them was named Abhay, and he's in Bangalore, and he's making a product called Good Milk. He's making it from hemp and rice and cashew and beautiful milk. Milk that tastes the same. Very creamy, very healthy, no suffering, no antibiotics, no casein, no mother and child had to be separated. So India is having soy milk, good milk, so many types of products that you can choose from. And I met so many entrepreneurs that are opening up restaurants. Like in Mumbai, there were like 10 vegan restaurants that you could go to, pasta, pizza. So it is up and coming.
As the vegan movement in India begins to gather steam, Dolly has witnessed a change in people's attitudes.
Once people find out the truth of who they really are, which is compassion, they want to change. They start thinking about this deeply. And I think that veganism is such a powerful movement right now, and it's growing so fast. Because if we don't go vegan, we are hurting our planet, and we really need to secure it for our future generations.
Indeed, global warming may soon pass the point of no return, unless we stop the animal livestock industry, now known to be the leading cause of human-induced climate change according to the prestigious World Watch Institute. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Supreme Master Ching Hai, in her urgent call to pray for world vegan in order to rescue our world, given on February 6, 2020, reiterated the same heartfelt plea, one that she has been making for decades.
Long ago, we still chained our own people, to make a slave out of them. And nowadays we still do that to an innocent cow who could not even run anywhere. You watch the films and all this documentary, and then you will see what I'm saying. And the pig lay in such a crate like this, could not even turn around or move all her life. Imagine it's you or your children. And the cow and the calf just taken away from their parents with the mother running behind it, crying. You don't have to speak English to translate that. If you see the clip, you will understand. You have no need to speak cow language, not telepathy, nada, nothing. Okay? So now, the atom bomb is nothing compared to the bombs that we have ticking. So I plead with you, for your own sake, drop that meat. Don't ever even look at it again. Be a child of God. Be noble, be kind, be compassionate. That's what you are. You just forget. Please remember that. So please U-turn. All of us should U-turn. Turn around. Now to the opposite direction. The direction of love, for all universal love, of compassion, of reverence for our lives, for our creation of God, of gratitude in action. Save yourself before it's too late.
We are also profoundly grateful to Supreme Master Ching Hai for her loving guidance and divinely inspired vision for our planet to become a land of ahimsa. We also sincerely thank Dolly for her remarkable insights and noble work on behalf of our precious animal co-inhabitants and all earthlings. To learn more about Dolly Vyas-Ahuja or Land of Ahimsa, please visit thelandofahimsa.com. Insightful viewers, it was a pleasure to have your comforting company today. Coming up next is Use Our Wisdom, Part 3 of 10 on Between Master and Disciples, right after Noteworthy News. We wish you the greatest blessings from the highest realms, and heaven's forever eternal grace.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/VE。
我们的节目提供多种语言，请看 suprememastertv.com/schedule 和 suprememastertv.com/VE。